Hey, honey,
Yes, Barry?
let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin mi naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler, and I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. The music you're just listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants. Those are the Le Bistro Jazz Cafe, Riverside on the Isla Cuale, and the Lapa Lapa, Puerto Vallarta's oldest restaurant on the famous Los Muertos Beach, and the El Dorado Restaurant Beach Club right next door. So you can enjoy that fantastic view of the Los Muertos Pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors, or during the day in its grand splendor for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge, or Riverside at Le Bistro. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week we are going to learn about Cuban cigars from a very interesting guy. His name is Gerry Cohen, and Gerry has what he calls a cigar oasis in Centro Puerto Vallarta. It's on Calle Aldama, just a block up from the Malecon. It's called La Casa Del Habano. And it's a very cool spot for aficionados of the fine Cuban cigars and other fine things in life, which Gerry will explain. We have a couple of Vallarta rock and rollers, Puerto Vallarta news, and more. So let's see what's happening this week in Puerto Vallarta, the 19th of May, 2025. May is a very busy month in Puerto Vallarta. In fact, Restaurant Week 2025 just kicked off on the 15th of May. A couple days ago, and don't worry, because if you're in town, Restaurant Week is really Restaurant Month. It gives a visitor a chance to sample some of their favorite restaurants or some of the restaurants that they've always wanted to try. This is from AZ Noticias. More than 50 restaurants invite tourists and locals to taste, experience, and experience Restaurant Week 2025. This is by Osvaldo Granados. The region's culinary scene is getting ready for a new edition of Restaurant Week, one of the most anticipated culinary festivals of the year, which in 2025 brings together the largest number of participating restaurants since the pandemic. From May 15th to June 10th, establishments in Puerto Vallarta and Riviera Nayarit will offer special 3-course meals, appetizer, main course, and dessert, with 3 options per category at fixed prices of $4.95, $5.75, and 690 pesos per person, excluding drinks and tips. This initiative allows diners to enjoy high-quality culinary offerings at affordable prices while boosting the restaurant industry. This is the largest number of participating restaurants since the pandemic began. We are very happy to celebrate another edition of our culinary event. The goal is to bring the best of Vallarta's gastronomy to residents and visitors at affordable prices. That is spirit, says Jorge Chavez, Executive Director of Restaurant Week. The diversity of options from signature cuisine to traditional dishes with contemporary touches makes Restaurant Week an ideal platform for both established chefs and emerging talents looking to expand their visibility. The event not only seeks to attract tourists and locals, but also to promote regional culinary culture in an inclusive and dynamic format. To learn about the menus of participating restaurants, please visit official website, and they've got it right there, restaurantweekpv.com/participants. And that's how Restaurant Week works, folks. It's all about, 3.5 weeks long, and there you have it. I have a link to that article from AZ Noticias in the show notes, and a link to the Restaurant Week's website over on my website, over in the show notes at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. So get out there and eat. Speaking about restaurants in paradise, Nacho Daddy, one of our favorite places to have meet and greets and eat and listen to music. It's for sale. Not the building, but the business. Let's see, Tammy and Sean, they are looking to retire, and it's listed here with Tropicasa Realty for $599,000 US, and the description is as follows. Business only for sale, excellent opportunity to acquire turnkey, profitable bar/restaurant and large theater/entertainment space in a very central and desirable romantic zone location. Nacho Daddy Tex-Mex Sports Bar is a very well-established community staple that boasts a large, loyal following of locals and tourists. Second floor is a well-equipped entertainment theater that seats 100-plus people. Hours can be extended, as well as theater marketing for live shows, bands, special events for even more potential income. Excellent staff and food and beverage program. One of the most attractive components of this long-standing business is the low lease rate and attractive terms. Excellent opportunity to take over and expand one of Vallarta's most iconic establishments. And I have a link to that listing over in the Tropicasa for this iconic Nacho Daddy in the show notes. And speaking of famous Vallarta restaurants for sale, Gene's Burgers up in Plaza Marina. You may know Gene's. I interviewed Hal Hilton a couple years back, actually, at his hamburger stand, Gene's, named after his mom. And they made a great burger. They had great shakes and fries. Well, they were sold to folks who run Salchidago. Salchidago is a gourmet hot dog restaurant over on Basilio Badillo. It's right near Act 2 over in Zona Romantica. So now it's hot dogs and hamburgers over at Salchidago. And I interviewed Hal and his wife, Anita, a couple of days ago. You'll be hearing from them and the folks over at Salchidago in a week or two. We're going to have them all on the show. Continuing with the theme of May in Puerto Vallarta, the Fiestas de Mayo, the festivals of May, are now upon us. From the Banderas News, Puerto Vallarta set to shine with Fiestas de Mayo 2025. Puerto Vallarta is buzzing with anticipation as the 4th annual Fiestas de Mayo festival prepares to unfold from Friday, May 16th to Sunday, June the 1st, 2025. The Explanada Vallarta, conveniently situated near the International Convention Center, will once again serve as the lively backdrop for this cherished community event. The Puerto Vallarta May Festival 2025 promises a delightful blend of culture, delicious food, and engaging entertainment, creating an unforgettable experience for the whole family. Attendees can dive into the thrill of mechanical rides, discover unique treasures at the Artesian Craft Fair, participate in exciting sporting competitions, and savor the authentic flavors of regional cuisine, including mouth-watering birria and hearty pozole, at the Gastronomic Showcase. Adding to the festive spirit, the celebration will feature captivating art displays, traditional ceremonies honoring the Virgin de Guadalupe, and the highly anticipated coronation of the Festival Queen, a significant moment of community pride. Families will find a wealth of activities to enjoy, from engaging children's performances to captivating concerts and spirited sports matches, ensuring there's something for everyone of every age. A major highlight of the festival is the impressive lineup of talented artists gracing the stage of Teatro del Pueblo. The central venue will come alive with unforgettable live music performances spanning various genres, promising enjoyable shows for all. This year's festival boasts a spectacular array of regional Mexican music stars, including the highly anticipated Juntos, featuring Jorge Medina and Josie Cuen, the iconic Mariachi Vargas, the sensational Grupo Firme, and many more beloved artists. Beyond the musical performances, attendees can look forward to exhilarating lucha libre, Mexican wrestling, and Muay Thai demonstrations, a thrilling jaripeo, Mexican rodeo, the entertaining Enanitos Toreos, or Little Bullfighters, a magical Disney show, classic carnival rides, and a wide selection of food, beverage, and souvenir stands. For those eager to explore the full schedule of events and live music, the official program is available on the Festival Fiestas de Mayo Puerto Vallarta Facebook page. With its harmonious blend of cherished traditions, captivating live music, and enjoyable entertainment, the Fiestas de Mayo Puerto Vallarta 2025 offers an exceptional experience that should not be missed. Mark your calendars, secure your tickets, and prepare to immerse yourself in the joyous atmosphere of this remarkable festival. And so there you have it there. I got a link to that article in the show notes. It kind of sounds like a north of the border county fair, doesn't it? You know, like the ones that feature some old one-hit wonder geezer band that, some fellow geezer might pay attention to and even bring his kids and his grandkids to listen to. That's the whole idea, right? No. They wouldn't do that in Mexico, would they? How would we even know, right? I mean, I'm sure everything's going to be just fine. Anyway, the truth is, I don't know about you guys, but the truth is that I've actually sworn off of going to see some of these old rock and rollers, these heroes of my youth. The OLD just doesn't look. It's just not a good look when you're looking up on the stage. You're looking at your old teenage idols, and they just don't look like they did. Way back in the day when they wouldn't allow you to bring cameras into concerts. You remember those days, right? Anyway, the music sounds great if you close your eyes, but it's just hard to close your eyes for like 2 hours or so. And it just looks creepy to be watching, long-haired, punchy grandpa wailing away on a lead guitar and singing songs that used to come out of a thinner, sprier, younger, long-haired hippie freak, like on the album cover. Remember? All right, Barry, enough of those when I was young, whippersnapper kind of crap. I'm not going to do that. Let's go back to the Fiestas de Mayo. It is a great opportunity to rub shoulders, by the way. If you are in town and you want to go to the Fiesta de Mayo, you will probably be the only gringo there. And why not? It sounds like a whole lot of fun. Get out there, practice your Espanol, and have a good time. By the way, my lovely wife, Debbie, she's got just over 660 straight days of studying Espanol using Duolingo. But, you can do it all kinds of ways. You can go to the Fiestas de Mayo, learn it there. Anyway, she's getting better every day. You guys practice. You'll get better every day, too. I have a link, like I said, to that article from the Banderas News about Fiestas de Mayo in the show notes. As well as the Fiestas de Mayo Facebook page in the show notes as well. It is Pride Month in Puerto Vallarta, and as my dear friend Marcia Blondin from the Vallarta Mirror would say if she was here, if it's May, it's gay in Puerto Vallarta, and pride flags are flying everywhere in town. There's even a big one over on just on the side of City Hall. Matter of fact, there's lots of planned events. Some of them I can't mention on my PG-rated podcast here, but I have a link to Jerry Jones's article from Out and About PV, where he lists a whole bunch of them. I'll put some of the highlights up here. Let's see here. Monday, today, May 19th, it's Pet Pride Parade. That's right. Bring your pet to be part of the most adorable parade of the year at 6 p.m. The parade will depart from Tao Park, Lázaro Cárdenas Park. It'll end up at the Arches over on the Malecon. That sounds like it'd be kind of cute. Thursday, May 22nd, is the Pride Parade. The lineup for the parade begins in front of the sports stadium and the Sheraton Hotel, so way up north. It's going to be it says here, a diverse, colorful, and futuristic parade that will leave you breathless. with a theme that imagines the future of equality and diversity. Come with your best looks, be inspired by our motto, "The future has no gender," and get ready for a next level experience. And following the Pride Parade, you got to have a block party, right? Well, there's going to be one, 8 o'clock or whenever the parade concludes, 9, whatever, doesn't matter. It's always a party. It's going to be the biggest street party in Vallarta. Artists from around the world and live music will make this party legendary. Puerto Vallarta Pride presents the JNS and a futuristic super production featuring top local artists under the theme "The Future Has No Gender." I'm assuming it's going to be over at Lázaro Cárdenas Park, but I'm guessing there's going to be parties all over Zona Romantica, over, on Olas Altas, Parque, Lázaro Cárdenas. It'll be a wild, wild night. That's Thursday night, this coming Thursday night. The following day, Friday the 23rd of May at 5 p.m., it's the drag races on Calle Pulpito in front of the Trist Hotel. Drag queens and kings compete in a rally full of surprises, creativity, and lots of fun, and adrenaline in heels, it says there. Sunday, May 25th at 8 in the morning, we have the Rainbow Run. You meet at the Arches on the Malecon and run, walk, or jog in this all-inclusive race for all gender identities. An event filled with positive energy, and fun, and solidarity. And also, Sunday, May 25th, it's an event called Futuramar, being held at the Art District, Leona Vicaro, number 230 in Centro Puerto Vallarta. I'll have that in the show notes. There's going to be a special auction. We'll feature pieces by local, national, international artists that celebrate diversity and inclusion. Your purchase is a step towards supporting causes for our LGBTIQ plus communities. And there you go. That wraps up my shortened Gay Pride activity list that I cherry-picked for you. And I have that list in entirety in the show notes, the one from Gerry in right there from Out and About PV. And happy Pride Month, Puerto Vallarta. Now, high season is winding down. In fact, La Huerta just closed up for renovations and to take some time off. Captain Don's is still having bands, at least for now. They did yesterday. I think they're going to continue for maybe another week. Some Vallarta bands actually head up to Canada to play during the summer months when it's really hot here. And one of those bands is the Gecko Band. And so I caught up with the leader of the band. I caught up with Victor Vera after their last performance of the season that they had a couple weeks ago over at Captain Don's. And I asked him, how does that work? How exactly do you Mexicans go and do your Canadian tours? So let's talk with him right now.
20s and 30s, and you guys are... Thank you so much, my friend.
Victor, thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking with me.
How are you, my friend? Always good to see you, man.
Excellent. Tell me about you're getting ready to go to Canada, right?
Yes.
You're planning your trip there, right?
Yeah, we're planning our 8th tour to Canada this summer, and we're so excited, man. So excited. We're leaving in June. I'm gonna come back in mid-September.
So how does that work out? I mean, you make arrangements with different venues. I mean, how does that all work out?
Yeah, my wife Rosie is helping us. She's like our tour manager. She's the one who is taking care of the bookings. Along these 8 years, we've been playing in different venues, and some of them, we repeat gigs on those venues. And don't do that to me. And, I'm so...
he's being teased, everybody. We're out on the sidewalk. He's being teased badly right now.
So, yeah, she, we know a lot of people there, and we're going to be playing in the same venues that we have before, and we have new venues to play and new provinces and new areas to play at.
That's very interesting. So the people that invite you to come on over, right? These people are obviously, they know you from here, and they say, "Hey, come on down and come to our town and play," right? So, I mean, Where do you guys stay? You stay with people that are friends of yours?
Normally, people who hire us provide us a place to stay at. So they provide accommodations most of the times, and when they don't, we gotta get a Airbnb or rent a hotel room. But it's the least of the times. Most of the times, we got a accommodation provided by our hosts, and we stay in their houses, or they provide us a hotel room to stay at.
Oh, that's really cool. So, any trouble with visas in Canada?
Trouble with what, sorry?
With visas in Canada?
Since last year, we had to get our Canadian visa, because before that, we didn't need a visa to get to Canada, just an ETA, electronic travel authorization, but now we need a Canadian visa. In my case, I have a U.S. visa, so I can go to Canada without a Canadian visa, but the rest of the guys need to get their Canadian visa. They have it now, so there we're going. Yes.
So we're all good. No problem.
Yeah, we're all good. No problems.
You got the whole band.
Absolutely, my friend. Yes.
All right. Well, very good. Listen, we'll be following you while you're in Canada. We'd always follow you. We're in here in Puerto Vallarta, but thanks very much for talking with me. Thanks for kind of letting us know what goes on in Canada.
Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. Thank you very much. And we'll be sharing videos and pictures and everything from all our gigs.
All right, excellent. All right, very good. Well, we'll be following you as you go through.
Follow us in Gecko Band Vallarta, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. Gecko Band Vallarta. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Victor. Appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend.
Oh, no, don't come right out here.
All right. Thank you very much, Victor. I gave all the contact information for the Gecko Band, as well as Victor's real estate business. He's got a real estate business. It's in the show notes. You can find it at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. Now, next, let's hear from another Mexican rock and roller. His name is Daniel Solis. We've had Daniel on the show before. I also caught up with Daniel right after his performance at Captain Don's about a week or two or so, with his band Monaco. And Daniel and his band are actually staying in Vallarta during the summer. And let's hear from Daniel what their plans are. Daniel Solis, thanks for coming on the show again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back again.
Okay. End of the season. We are at Captain Don's. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, we were at Captain Don's and we were talking with Victor Vera. He was heading up to Canada, but you guys, you're going to stay here in the United States, right here in Mexico. Yes,
That's right. We still have a lot of private events happening until June, and then we're planning on taking a whole month off because the guys deserve it. We all worked really hard this past season, and we're taking the whole month of July off. But before that, we're gonna be getting ready for next season shows. So actually, this coming week, we started working on lots of new songs and getting the shows ready for next season.
amazing. So, you also were talking about you do like private events, right?
Weddings, conventions, and you name it.
All right. So, like, if you're in town, you need a good band. I mean, you are the people to talk to, right?
That's exactly right. We are what it's called, I think, up in the north, a wedding band.
Yeah,
That's,
totally.
Yeah. So that's why the variety of songs that we have.
Well, this is perfect, like for June weddings. Anybody coming down from the States or from Canada, if you got a wedding planned, obviously, you want to be talking to Monica, you want to be talking to Daniel, right?
That's right. We are always booking. In fact, I'm already booking for next year. So far, I have like around 7 events booked starting January. So yeah.
All right. So how do people do that?
They normally contact me online. A lot of my customers from hotels like Four Seasons, Grand Velas, and many of those hotels, I've been working for them for the past 13 years.
Oh, wow.
So we already have basically they have all my
you're set up over there.
Yes,
yeah,
that's right. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, good. All right. So and then you're taking some time off, and then what are you working on for the next year? What's coming up?
Okay, so next season, I'm bringing back the Rocketman show with live music, where I do Elton John, basically all of his hits. The costumes are amazing, amazing. The music, obviously, live, it's amazing. So I'm bringing back that one. Also the ABBA tribute show, because it was selling out every single week this season. So people want more. And our shows are only 1 hour and 15 minutes. When we're talking about ABBA or Elton John, come on, they have so many songs. There's no way that you're gonna go through them in just an hour and 10 minutes or 15 minutes, right? So we're gonna bring him back with new songs. And also next season, I'm gonna be working on a new song for the first time. New show, and for the first time, I'm bringing to the theater Greece.
Really? Okay.
Greece.
All right. That's wonderful. Now you've done. I was talking with Jesus over at La Huerta, and you were doing some show. You did a couple of nighttime shows over there too, right?
I did it. I actually try out my Elton John show with the live music. Obviously, I was still working on it. It was an amazing show still. And what we did, or what we shipped at La Huerta, was something totally, completely different than what I have done in the past. This was a dinner show. People walk through a red carpet, the waiter.
It's a big deal.
Yes, it was a big deal. You totally could have dressed up for the occasion. The lights and everything. So, yes.
You got planned something like that maybe for next year, hopefully?
Definitely. I still haven't decided what am I going to be doing, because there's so many shows and there's many bands that we could be tributing. So we're still in the works, but definitely we're gonna keep busy ourselves here in town.
Well, thanks for staying in town, because there's people here that stay year round, and we really depend on people like you, Daniel. Daniel Solis, thank you so much for coming on the show again. Thanks for sharing with my audience, and I truly appreciate you coming back.
My pleasure, as always, and thank you.
All right. Thank you very, very much, Daniel. What a cool band to have for a wedding or a special event. Wouldn't that be really cool? I don't know. Do I want to get married again? No. But maybe you got a friend, or anniversary. Any kind of party, right? Anyway, it'd be really great to have Monaco do something special, and look for him as Rocket Man. Also, I've got all of his information in the show notes as well. Now, last time we talked, my wife and I were heading back to California to perform some realtor duties for a client, to do our taxes, and to ranch sit for a childhood friend of mine, Dr. John. Dr. John lives up in Humboldt, California, weed capital of the world. All the above was accomplished, everything including our proper exit and re-entry from and into Mexico as residents. Now, let me give you kind of a little rundown about this. Upon, exiting Mexico, or more specifically Puerto Vallarta, by air, the first thing that we were told to do was to go directly to the I&M booth. They have it right there in the departure lobby, where the ticketing and the baggage check-in takes place. Then we were told to hand them our resident card with our passports. And then the lady in the booth, she stamped our passports, and she wrote RT into the stamp. And then we turned around, we went over to get our boarding passes and drop off our luggage. And we also handed the ticketing agent our residency card and passport. And the ticketing agent actually wrote down RT on our boarding passes, which I found pretty interesting. He then reminded us that we had to visit the I&M booth, which he pointed out to us, behind us. And we appreciated that. I told him that we had already done that, but it was nice to get the reminder, just in case, right? Now, I don't know if all the ticketing agents are as sharp and helpful as this one was, but it's important to stop at that booth before you go upstairs to go through the security and to your gate and wait for your flight. Another thing I noticed was that the boarding agent at the gate wrote RT on paper right there. So they track you if you're a resident. It's very interesting. Of course, we got to go in the resident line on returning to Puerto Vallarta, which is a real thrill. And we were actually the only ones on the flight that got that privilege, which was pretty cool and got us in and out of there pretty quickly. It was cold and rainy, unfortunately, in California. But when we got back to Vallarta, the weather had changed from cool, which it had been, very cool during this winter time, to pretty warm in paradise. We like it that way. We're Southern Californians. But we'll see how long we can resist turning on one of our 3 split air conditioners that we have in our apartment. So far, we've not touched it yet. We don't even know if they work. Okay. And there was a little sprinkle a night ago, but the rain is still a month away, unfortunately, here. The Rio Quale, speaking of unfortunately, is down to a trickle. And that is actually when it hits town. It's just running on just one side of the Quale Island. So we'll see, if she completely dries up or not before our first rain. Now, historically, rain arrives middle of June in Puerto Vallarta. So it's there's been no major water shortages, so to speak, reported anyway. There's been no protests from angry, thirsty colonias yet. But I think right now, if you do this sort of thing, you might want to pray for rain. The hills around town are looking like they could use a drink. Seeing as we are going to be talking about Cuban cigars with our next guest, I thought that I would check in on the new vaping laws in Mexico. We were talking about that some time back. But I thought I'd share with you a very extensive article I found on the subject from Vaping NN. It's an online article. I'll put it in the show notes. So I just kind of picked a couple things out of it here. But it's entitled Mexicans' Vaping Laws and Regulations, a Comprehensive Guide. It says as of 2024, Mexico's vaping laws are amongst the most restrictive in the world. The importation, sale, and advertising of vaping products are prohibited under federal law. This ban extends to all vaping products, whether they contain nicotine or not, and applies to both physical and online sales. The law also includes a ban on smoking in public spaces, which encompasses vaping, reinforcing Mexico's strict stance on tobacco and its alternatives. The restrictions have led to a reduction in the availability of legal vaping products, pushing customers towards the black market, which has become a significant concern for both public and health and law enforcement. Now, this is an extensive article, like I said. But when you ask about penalties, here's what they say about penalties. They ask, are there penalties for vaping in public places in Mexico? And they answer, yes, vaping in public places can result in fines and other penalties, as it's treated similarly to smoking under Mexican law. Now, so far, at least in this town, at least in Puerto Vallarta, the anti-smoking laws are not being enforced. So look, here's what I can tell you about vaping in Puerto Vallarta. One thing, they will take it away from you when you arrive at the airport, so don't bother bringing them to the airport. But once you get to Puerto Vallarta, you can pretty much find vape shops everywhere. And I've never heard of anybody getting popped by the cops. I mean, nobody for smoking or vaping. Maybe I'm just misinformed, but I've never heard of that. So that's what I know. That's what I can tell you. And with that, let's get to our guest, Gerry Cohen and La Casa Del Habano. I was introduced to Gerry by a friend of the show, Stan Gebrek, okay, hold your hands over the virgin ears in the room. Ready? Stan Gebrek is from Masturbator Sports Fishing in Vallarta, in Marina Vallarta. And Stan has introduced me to a number of very interesting guests over the years that I've had the pleasure to have on the podcast. And Gerry has a lot of things to say and to share about his passion of smoking cigars and distributing Cuban cigars. His shop it's a very cool, cozy little spot It's comfortable. It's kind of like a living room. It's or maybe two living rooms. It's got leather couches, overstuffed chairs. It's got a bar. It's got a huge humidor full of fine Cuban smokables. As Gerry describes it, it is a cigar oasis. It just feels like it. And Gerry has devoted clients who basically have found this little haven in paradise where you won't be frowned upon for sparking up a fatty, as long as it's a Cuban cigar, that is. Now, when I first met and sat down with Gerry, I got to tell you the story. We started talking, and while I was setting up the recording equipment, we found a spot where I thought that would be comfortable, that we could fairly, quietly do some recording in this lovely living room setting. And as I'm setting up, almost every other word that's coming out of Gerry's mouth was an F-bomb. It was like one F word after another F word. Seriously. So I said to him, Gerry, my podcast is rated G, and I'll talk to you, but, if you drop an F-bomb, I'm going to have to take it out. I mean, all of them, not just one. I mean, all of them. So then he proceeds to tell me, and this other gentleman who we sat down next to, actually, when we sat down in this area, sat down next to this other guy to set up for interviews. We asked if it was okay. We're doing a podcast. He said, oh, yeah, no problem. So the guy's just sitting back, enjoying a cigar with us. And so Gerry tells us about how, he was talking to one customer once, swearing like a sailor, throwing around F-bombs and such, and having a great time. And eventually got around to asking this guy what he does. And the guy replies, I'm a priest. So Gerry explains that he was so embarrassed. And I kid you not, the guy that we were sitting next to says, hey, that's very interesting. Guess what? I'm a priest too. Where are these guys coming from? Anyway, swear to God, that happened. And I don't know if that's why it happened, but Gerry was a perfect gentleman. Not a single F-bomb was dropped during this entire interview. It's a long interview, so good for you, Gerry, and thank you very much, my friend. I mean, actually, I should be thanking that cigar-smoking priest, I guess. At any rate, let's go right now to Calle Aldama, 170 in Centro de Vallarta, 1.5 blocks up from the Malecon. And let's meet Gerry Cohen, owner of La Casa del Habano, a cigar oasis in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Gerry, thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What was your path that led you here to Puerto Vallarta? Where are you from, first of all?
I was born supposedly in the same hospital that Obama was born in Hawaii,
Yeah.
Oahu. Not the Big Island, but 90% of the population is on Oahu in Queens Hospital.
Okay.
In March 1955, which makes me 69 years old.
Yeah.
Good number.
It is. It's a great number.
Age is but a number.
It is. And we'll leave out the but. So I want to know something.
Yes, sir.
What was your path? What got you here? How did you get to Puerto Vallarta?
Okay. It's a fair question. Well, I got to blame it on my father, Aaron. Right after I got my doctorate in finance, my father at age 65 retired. Every day he used to smoke 5 packs of unfiltered Camels during his time.
Yeah.
That's 100 cigarettes a day.
Wow, yeah.
Imagine that. And he would do crossword puzzles and watch baseball games. So I asked myself before I started my career taking companies public for a living, there has to be something more to retirement than that. So I said, Gerry, what do you love to do? What are you passionate about? What spins your wheels? And I thought about it, not too long, but I love to smoke cigars. I'm passionate about tobacco. So for me, voila, a tobacco business makes perfect sense. I've been retired now for 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
I smoke about, if I have to tell the truth, I do smoke 20 cigars a day now.
Uh-huh. Oh.
I usually smoke about 10 in the shop here and 10 at home. The reason is my wife, who I love to death and will take my last breath with her, I hope, counts my cigarette butts. So I used to smoke a full box of Cubans every day for 25 years to make sure, A, the tobacco is Cuban, and B, Cohiba tastes like Cohiba, or Boulevard like Boulevard, etc. There are 27 major brands in Cuba, because we're in the country of Mexico, where there are a lot of fakes.
Uh-huh.
So unless you really know the taste, you don't really know if you're smoking a Cuban or not.
But when did you come to Vallarta?
Well, this was 1998. I opened this store. My first employee was a guy named Pedro. I won't use his last name, who I met in Havana, Cuba. 6'5" and 350 pounds, black, the biggest man of Vallarta today, in tobacco business. He was my first employee. So I opened up this shop in 1998, and I've been here ever since.
Okay. Now, you say that there's a lot of fakes here in Mexico, lots of different
Around the world.
around the world, right?
Yes.
Because everybody wants to, they want to be able to make they're trying to replicate the Cuban cigar, right? Is that the deal?
They want, it's not a matter of replication. People know, if you look at a map of the world, on the very top of the world is the Tropic of Cancer. And if you go down south, you run into the Tropic of Capricorn. Around the world, that is known as the Tobacco Belt.
Okay.
That's where tobacco is grown. I've had the good fortune in my life to visit every country in the world that produces tobacco.
Okay.
And I have found in my 40 years of smoking cigars that the best tobacco, without a doubt, is Cuban tobacco, because of A, fermentation, and B, process, and B, because of quality control.
Interesting.
It's also the most healthy organic cigar you could smoke. So let me dispel a common misunderstanding about cigars. All tobacco is black Cuban tobacco. When Columbus in 1492 first discovered America, okay, he saw Indians on the beach smoking basically dried leaves in a dried gourd with two vines up to their nose, and they were smoking. But at that time, the tobacco was called tobacco rusticanum. That tobacco contained a lot of psychedelics, like THC. So it was really relegated to be smoked by priests as their way to communicate with the gods. As tobacco became a commercial crop in the U.S., by the way, was built on tobacco. The tobacco changed, as it became more commercial, it became black Cuban tobacco, which we have today. Now, the reason I smoke Cuban tobacco is very simple. I am concerned with my personal health. If a person isn't, more power to them. But if they are concerned about their health, in other words, they want to live a long and fruitful and happy and enjoyable life, that's fine. But if they want to die quickly, I can tell them how you can do that. And that is smoke the world cigars, because the country of Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, Mexico, Honduras, all the rest of the countries have the ability to call Monsanto, DuPont, and Archer Daniel Midlands in Texas in the U.S., that are the three prime providers of fertilizers, pesticides, and chemicals. And these countries, or all the producers of that style of tobacco, New World, do call them because they want to enhance the growability. They want to bring to the market faster their tobacco. But guess what? Cuba can't call those companies. And you might ask why. It's very simple. Remember, Cuba is communist. So they can't call Monsanto. They can't call American companies. So Cuba is the only country in the world that is relegated to grow tobacco the old-fashioned way. That is horse, cow, pig, chicken excrement. That's where they get their nitrogen from.
Got it.
So
that makes a
there it
lot of
is.
sense. There you go. All right. So, but, people would look at you and go, okay, Gerry, all right, you want to be healthy, but here you are, you're smoking 20 cigars a day, right? I mean, so.
I do not inhale.
Okay, excellent.
Let me address that.
Help us out with that, will you please? All right.
If you're from the country of Cuba, you inhale.
Really?
As you would a cigar, like a cigarette.
Seriously.
Unbelievable.
No way, really.
I smoke with a friend of mine, Pedro. He's from Havana. They are looking for what they call in Spanish the golpe. Golpe means the hit in the lung.
Yeah.
They want to feel what they're smoking. So Cubans all inhale. If Pedro was to inhale New World cigars from Dominica, Honduras, Mexico, he'd be dead.
Yeah, right.
Because all of the chemicals. As I would be dead as well. And guess what? I'm not.
No, you're not.
That's why I smoke Cuban.
Look at you.
After 1 million cigars, almost 1 million, I do not inhale. Now, 10% of tobacco smoke is taken in through the mucous membrane in your nose and your mouth, and you swallow it into your stomach and basically either pass it out either through urine or other.
Right.
That's 10%. But if you're Cuban, 100% of tobacco gets in your lungs because it's like smoking a cigarette. There's no difference.
Right. Well, how interesting is that? Wow, that is amazing. All right, so let's get to your shop here because I want people to know about this place. You walk in, you've got couches. It's very, very comfortable. You got booze. You sell alcohol as well. Tell us about, before you get to your bar, tell us about your cigars. Obviously you sell Cuban cigars, and there's probably all different kinds, right?
We get our cigars directly from Havana, Cuba, from Habanos S.A. They are the licensed distributor for all Cuban cigars worldwide. They own no assets. They are owned by Cuba Tobacco, which is a 1968 Cuban corporation that is government controlled, that owns all the assets in Cuba. And there are over 250,000 people in Cuba that are involved in the production of tobacco.
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, that's amazing. So when you do you go to Cuba to pick these up, or how do you do it? How do you get your cigars?
I have
You shop.
been to Cuba myself 55 times. I am one of the few people that had an opportunity to smoke lots of cigars with Fidel Castro when he was alive. I've also had the opportunity to meet Raul Castro, his brother, and his oldest son, Fidel's oldest son, Alejandro Castro, I smoke with all the time when I'm in Havana. Alejandro has got a bit of a problem right now, will probably be one of the future presidents of Cuba, but his problem right now is he's involved in drugs. He's the head of the cartel in Cuba, so he's got his own axes to grind.
Got it, yeah. All right, so, well, let's talk about pricing. Let's talk about what a Cuban cigar is going to cost you. Are there different prices? What's going on?
Okay, I have been retired for 14 years, so I really don't know pricing on a single cigar day to day.
Got it.
What I can tell you is this. In about my 30 years, or actually, if you want to get really finite, my 27 and a half years in business here, I've never seen the prices of Cuban cigars go down.
Right.
They have gone up for a lot of wrong reasons. Many people think it's because Habanos S.A., which is the distributor of all Cuban cigars worldwide, increased their prices. That can be farthest from the truth. Habanos S.A., which is part of Cuban Tobacco, only sells the materia prima, that is, the raw materials for cigars. So they may make on every cigar maybe $1.50 to $2 of tobacco in the cigar.
Okay.
The markup of all cigars are by the importers of every country. We have about 150 stores in our franchise around the world, and in every country of the world, there's a separate importer that has the right from Habanos S.A. to import Cuban cigars. They set the pricing. As a retailer, I am controlled by them. In other words, I can't mark the price of Cuban cigars astronomically, because what would happen then? I couldn't sell.
Right.
I can't mark them below market. What would happen? I'd run out of cigars. I have to mark to market. Thank God there's a website.
I was going to say, yeah. So this is like the price of oil on a daily basis. You're just looking at the price of gold. It just fluctuates. It's a commodity.
That's exactly right. Now, the reason recently Cuban cigars have gone up a few times, again, people are blaming the wrong people. They need to understand that Imperial Tobacco, first, let's go back. There was Habanos S.A. They partnered with the government tobacco producer from France, the country of France called Saita, and the government tobacco company of Spain, Tabacalera. they fused and formed a new company, two companies called Altadis USA, which is in New York, and Altadis SA, which I was under. That is because they fused together. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they smoked a lot of cigars. And because they were controlled by the government, they were controlled by government pricing. At that time, we're talking 30, 40 years ago, you could buy Cuban cigars cheaper in Spain or France than you can today because the pricing was controlled by the government.
Mm-hmm.
They had a 10% cap on all Cuban products. Now they lifted the cap. They can do whatever they want to do, and they do. So, unfortunately, after Altadis SA sold all their stock to a company out of Bristol, England called Imperial Tobacco. Imperial Tobacco is a huge company out of Bristol, England, but their mainline business was vaping,
Mm-hmm.
which is now outlawed in the country of Mexico and will soon be outlawed in the country of the U.S. So guess what happened to their stock price as a public company? It fell.
Mm-hmm.
And as it fell and got to the right price, Allied Cigar Group out of China, which is a small tobacco company in China, even though China is a major consumer of cigarettes to the tune of 300 million cigarettes a year,
Mm-hmm.
Allied Cigar Group was exporting to Hong Kong, the Hong Kong market, and wanted to market all the pricing structures in the world, which meant they raised some lines of Cuban cigars and they didn't on other lines of Cuban cigars, but it is not accustomed to smoke cigars in China. It is accustomed to collect. So
Oh, wow.
Cuban cigars are collected like old teas in China.
Really? What do they do? Do they don't smoke them? What do they sit around and sniff them? What do they do with them?
They
Just look at
them. They want the privilege saying, I have a
I have
2010 box of original Coliva Bahiques. It's the most expensive cigar in the world, and I've got it. Now,
Wow.
I have had a chance to smoke with one guy who was the head of PCC, Pacific Cuban Cigars. He was the distributor for Asia, born in Hong Kong. His family made all the business, all the money in the arms business, like Khashoggi. His name was David Tang, who I've smoked with many times. But unfortunately, David also owned, before the handover, 4 locations in Canada for La Casa Del Habano, in Vancouver, BC, Toronto, which is our biggest site there, Montreal, Quebec, on Sherbrooke Road, across from the Gallery of Arts there, and in Windsor, Canada, where Detroit is at. People in Canada, because the Vancouver, Montreal, and Toronto stores are closed, the people in Canada say yes, because our laws are against smoking, our taxes are high.
Mhm.
No. The real reason those franchises closed is David Tang, the owner, died.
Yeah.
So there's only one La Casa Del Habano left in Canada, in Windsor, by Niagara Falls, near Detroit, Michigan.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah. All right. Now that's an amazing. These are great stories. Okay, let's get back to your place.
Yes, sir.
You sell mostly Cuban cigars, but you sell from all over the world. What kind of
No,
cigars what do you have here?
In La Casa Del Habano, this is the first franchise store out of Cuba. By contract, I can only sell export quality 1 Cuban cigars. These are cigars that are either fermented for a period of 4 to 5 years, unless they are in a factory in Havana called El Eguito, which is Fidel's old factory that was created in 1966, where he started the most famous brand of cigar in the world, Cohiba. They were rolling Cohiba and then Trinidad cigars there. Since his death, they only roll Cohiba cigars there. So I can only sell by contract Cuban cigars that I get from Cuba. The real thing.
Got it.
To make sure they're real, every day I smoke the humidor, like I've told cigar aficionado and Dave Savannah, who edits that magazine, many times. I smoke my humidor every day. I smoke on average 20 cigars a day in rotation to make sure that A, the tobacco's Cuban, and B, Cohiba tastes like a Cohiba, etc.
Right.
Because in Mexico, there are a lot of fakes here.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. You have a bar. Tell us about your bar.
We, in La Casa del Habano, we are not in the business of selling Cuban cigars. I always tell everybody that we are in the business of selling the Cuban experience. That means to say, when you come to my shop, you will be served the best coffee that you could imagine. It happens to be my own blend. After learning coffee making in Rome, Italy for 4.5 years, I now have my own blend that we sell beans around the world at.
No.
I have 2 or 3 coffee machines here, 8 more at home. Our humidor in the store here, I got my humidifier from England, which is called the Walton humidifier, 27.5 years ago, made of brass. We have it running 24/7 every day. A lot of guys in Vallarta around the world, when they go home, guess what they do? They want to save a little bit of money. So what do? They turn off the switch. That means the cigar will have time to basically get nasty. What I mean by that, as the humidity or water in the cigar evaporates or constricts, it could cause the wrapper or the cigar to explode or run. So because I treat cigars like flowers, fresh flowers or vegetables, I run my humidor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And thank God we have, I think, the best humidifier. We know we have the best humidifier in Vallarta, probably the best humidifier in the country of Mexico.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So other than coffee, you were saying you have
we have
bourbon?
a full liquor bar here. We specialize here in Cuban rums from Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
Our most famous drink from Cuba is our mojito. We also do one of our favorite things here, which is we double pour all drinks here so you could taste the alcohol. Many bars in Vallarta, as a way to save money, underpour or 1 ounce pour their drinks. I can tell you, which I won't, certain places that if you don't call your drink or your liquor, they will serve you rot gut because they earn more money that way. We also specialize in bourbon. We have the largest bourbon collection in the country of Mexico. 5 times a year, a fellow from Austin, Texas, who used to work for Churchill Downs, running the Kentucky Derby, learning bourbon in Kentucky on the Bourbon Trail, is now a collector. He has about 3,000 bottles in his collection. We have a friend. His name is Greg. He happens to be in Kentucky. He has about 9,000 bottles of bourbon. So I have stopped drinking 14 years ago, but we make the best smoked old fashions here in the country, and Katya makes them. We have 8 different woods that we smoke. We buy our kits from Amazon, and it's a sight to be seen, and it works well because it's a smoked old-fashioned, which complements the smoke of cigars.
Yeah.
And again, we don't use maraschino or what I call nuclear cherries in there. We use the finest cherries that you can buy, and they're called Lusardos, which comes with every drink.
Nice.
So you pick the bourbon, we'll make the old-fashioned for you. If you want it straight up, neat, or on the rocks, we can do that too.
Wow. First class all the way.
I require first class all the way. It ain't by accident.
No.
If you're going to smoke the best cigar out there, you better have the best coffee you can drink. You better have the best bourbon or alcohol you can drink. Period.
Excellent. I love that. I love that. And then, of course, you can walk outside and you can see the best view in the world, which is the Bahia de Banderas, which is amazing.
The reason that the franchise in Vallarta is very simple. I was born in Oahu, Hawaii. On my second visit with Habanos SA in Havana, Cuba, they had a map of the world on the wall. They asked me, Gerry, didn't you say you were born in Oahu? I said, yes. If you go from Oahu and you sail directly east on the same latitude line, you enter the Bay of Flags here and Vallarta for dirt. That is a short reason why the franchise is here, because we cannot sell Cuban cigars in the state of Hawaii, which is part of the U.S.
Yeah,
And it's called an embargoed product. But we can sell this product in the country of Mexico. And besides, we have the same humidity as Savannah has here.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. It's those ley lines again. Here we go. Right straight through.
And by the way, all the coconuts that are on the trees that you see in Mexico came on the same latitude current from Hawaii. They are not indigenous to Mexico.
Hey, how about that? Look at that. All right. So let's talk about things that are indigenous to Mexico. Let's talk about food. Let's leave your place for just a minute. Let's talk about places that you like to go to eat.
For food?
Yes, in Puerto Vallarta.
Let me start by saying one day I happened to be walking in the Paris Casino in Vegas with the Secretary of Gobernación, which is basically the vice president of the country of Mexico. His name is Francisco. We call him, his apodo here in Mexico is Paco.
Okay.
So he and I are smoking Cuban cigars together, and I noticed that all these people start to shake his hand. And they're going, Paco, we love you. So I said, Paco, you happen to live in Guadalajara. How do all these American Mexicans know you? He goes, TV's Jerry. I go, oh, wow. Okay, TV. I get that. So I asked him, Paco, why are all these people shaking your hands? He said, well, I'm now the vice president of Mexico. And then he started his comment on the fact that I happen to live in Puerto Vallarta. So he said, Jerry, you are so lucky you live in Puerto Vallarta. I go, why, Paco? He goes, because Vallarta has the second best cuisine in the country of Mexico. So I had, of course, asked him, well, Paco, then who has the first? And, of course, he replied, Mexico City, but they got 25 million people there.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you got 350,000 people here.
Yeah.
But the food is wonderful here. You have to actually look for bad food in Puerto Vallarta, because if food is bad, you go out of business. Now, probably will be replaced by a taco shop that sells taco pastor or taco carne asada.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. They'll take it over for sure.
Now, where do I enjoy eating?
Yeah.
I like La Vaca Argentina,
Okay.
which is right across the street from Grand Venetian Condos and La Isa Shopping Center on Avenida Fluvial Road.
Uh-huh.
Go down that street, you run a Costco, but on the very corner, right across from La Isa, is La Vaca Argentina, the Argentinian cow. The manager there is Fernando, a friend of mine. What I like about that, you can order any kind of steak you want. I love their bone and ribeye or their tomahawk steak. Do not order the salad that comes with the meal.
Okay.
Okay.
Good secret.
But the nice thing is, if you like to smoke cigars, many times because they're a franchise out of Guadalajara, they pay the fines. You could smoke cigars on their veranda. Last time I was there, I smoked about 6 Cubans.
Well,
It was wonderful. But you better call them first, because the rules can change from time to time.
Right.
In April of this year, I have a new place to enjoy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little bit of story about that. I go into this place in the marina called Maison Iberica, the Spanish table. My wife, Martha, and I go in. We walk in the place, Spanish food, and I hear my name yelled up saying, "Hi, Jerry." And I look around and I go, "I don't know you." He goes, "Yes, I used to be one of your waiters at La Vaca Argentina." I go, "What's your name?" His name is Fernando as well. I go, "Well, Fernando, if you're one of my waiters, you know I like to smoke cigars. So where can I smoke my cigar at?" I followed him and my wife, Martha, to a table in the restaurant. He slid the glass doors open for me. He put an ashtray there, and he said, "Welcome. You'll enjoy the food. Smoke to your heart's content." So I said to my wife, Martha, "Honey, give me my cigars." She spent about 20 minutes looking in her purse, only to let me know that she failed to bring my cigars with her. So what I did is I called my buddy Loom at La Casa Del Habano, because he has delivered the cigars for me at different locations in the past.
Yeah.
But he informed me that he couldn't do that through Uber because there was something going on between Uber and the marina. So they suggested have Oscar. I said, "You know what? Rather than that, I hope that I will smoke when I get home. I hope the food is good here. So I ordered their paella of seafood, which was to die for. And I had ordered their black-footed ham, which is raised on acorns from Madrid, Spain.
Oh.
The best prosciutto I've ever had, much better than Saninelli, which is from Tuscany, Italy, or Parma, which is from Parma, too salty. This is better.
Wow.
It was so good, in fact, when I had my annual party on December 20th in this store, I had the restaurant deliver me a full leg of that prosciutto here, and the restaurant sent a special guy with a special knife and a special glove to cut the ham for all my guests.
Wow.
And the manager spent 3 hours here in the store with me. Finishing the story, I'm at the restaurant, cannot smoke in the restaurant because of the restaurant is right below other condos in the marina, and they complain about cigar smoking.
Right.
So I'm kind of depressed about that, but the food is very good.
Yeah.
So as I'm leaving the last time, I'm walking out of the restaurant. The manager of the restaurant, Fernando, stops me and says, "Gerry, I have a surprise for you." I go, "Fernando, either you want to do business or you don't." He goes, "Come with me. My wife, Martha, and my buddy, Tom from Austin, his wife, Danielle, is ahead of us smoking a cigarette. The restaurant by the kitchen just bought 4 new locations right next to the restaurant. In the first facility, they will build brand new men and women washrooms. In the second area, which is about 100 square feet, they had tile laid down. As I walked in, I go, "What are you guys going to do here?" He said to me, "Gerry, this is your smoking room." So now there's a place in the marina which will be open April this year after they put extractors up in the roof and all the things they need to do.
Right.
Big round table where you can smoke, drink, and eat the best food you want right there. The restaurant is Maison Iberica. It'll be called Club Habanos, which is my name. So the full name will be My Club Habanos. Next to that, they're putting in a place for kids and then a storage facility. But in the marina by the warehouse, there'll be a new place in April that you could smoke and drink to your heart's content.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. Well, I'll have that information in the show notes, and look forward to www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. I'll also have pictures of the inside of Gerry's beautiful place here, and the bar, and all the great stuff that's going on here. You'll go, well, I had no idea there's something like this in Puerto Vallarta. I mean, it's
this
a big
is
surprise.
kind of a respite, an oasis for people that come to Vallarta. But I must tell you, our place here is for serious tobacco smokers. So most people come here because they either fly here or they cruise here, so they consult the internet first.
Right.
We are if you type in real Cuban cigars in Vallarta, we come up number 1 on Google, TripAdvisor, and Yelp.
Very good. Well, you got
With
the
thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of 5-star positive reviews.
Yeah, I can see why. What are your hours? What are you?
We are open here from 12 o'clock, noontime, till 9 at night. Sometimes we'll stay open if people are smoking or drinking.
Mm-hmm.
We're here Monday through Saturday, 9 to 9, always closed on Sunday.
Okay.
I've been closed for 27 and a half years. It's either a day you spend with your family, your loved one. It's a religious day.
Yeah.
It's your day to do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly right. All right. Now, before we go, give us the address again of this place.
We have been here and we haven't gone anywhere. We are located at 170 Aldama, Aldama Street, number 170, Puerto Vallarta, Jalisco, Mexico.
Sí, exactamente. All right. And you've been here how many years?
28 years in December of 2025.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
And on December 20th, if you're a real serious smoker, I have my annual Christmas Posada party here, where every year we have a theme. We have a Cuban band that serenades us for 3 hours, and my staff, my constituents,
Yeah.
40 people fly in from around the country to attend.
Oh, wow.
Free mojitos, a long ash contest. The winner wins a box of cigars. Starts at 4, usually till about 11 at night.
Oh, wow.
Great time.
Oh, well, if you're a cigar smoker, that sounds like you got to be here. It's like heaven on earth, right? All right. So before we go, let's talk about the GOATs. Let's talk about the greatest of all time cigar smokers. All right.
Yes.
Who would you say is number one?
Well, number one, besides me, would be Winston Churchill, who smoked, according to artificial intelligence, about 300,000 cigars during his lifetime. I actually had myself calculate, and we gave him the benefit of the doubt. We knew he smoked 8 cigars a day at the J. Jemison Cigar Bar in London, England, the oldest cigar bar in the world, opening their doors in 1874. We suggested he smoked 10 cigars a day. So he smoked really about 275,000 cigars during the time that he was alive.
Wow. That's amazing.
Followed by, I am not sure, but who I can tell you who was also on the list would have been Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens.
Yeah.
Rudyard Kipling, the poet.
All right.
Sigmund Freud, the psychologist.
Really?
George Burns, the comedian. Milton Berle, another comedian. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some famous people.
I imagine maybe Ernest Hemingway might be on that
and
list.
Ernest Hemingway would certainly be there. Fidel Castro as well.
Absolutely, right? Amazing. All right. And you?
I'm number one. I am the GOAT.
You're the GOAT.
Because I have smoked almost 1 million cigars during my lifetime. I'm still alive. And I would love to meet the only admittance to my club is you have had the minimum requirement is you too have had to have smoked 1 million cigars. I will welcome you and call you my brother.
There you go. Listen to that. And what is that? What is that famous line from Bill Clinton? And I smoked 1 million cigars but didn't inhale.
I don't think it was cigars. I think it had to be marijuana. By the way, I let me just tell you a quick story. My first client here, true story. I just opened up so I hadn't had time to collect my terminals there. So a guy comes walking in with his wife. He throws at me 27 and a half years ago a black American Express no limit card at me. And he says, Gerry, do you accept this card? I go, no. He goes, why? I go, because I just opened the shop today. I haven't had time to connect my terminals yet. I take cash only. Yells through at his wife. He says, honey, go to the bank and get me $4,000 in cash. I walk him into the humidor. He's picking boxes of cigars out like crazy. He picks out, remember this box name, 2 boxes of the Oil de Monterrey Double Corona. I walk him out to check out. I'm looking at the counter. He's got a lot of Cuban boxes there. I go, where are you going to do your U.S. Customs at? He goes, in Washington, D.C. I said, you know what? You're better off. If you want to get your Cuban cigars, we can ship the cigars to you. He goes, don't worry, Gerry. I won't have any problem getting Cuban cigars back in the U.S. I go, fine, your risk. But I said, from time to time, we have specials. So leave me your card. I'll give you my card, and we'll stay in touch by internet. Hands me his card. His card says, and I quote, 1601 West Pennsylvania Avenue, the White House. He is the sub-secretary of state under Bill Clinton. Remember those 2 boxes of the Oil de Monterrey Double Corona cigar I talked about earlier? There, we lovingly call those cigars the Lewinsky. And that, my friends, is a true story.
And there you go. And that is the rest of the story. Gerry, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Just thank you for spending your time and introducing this fine cigar. What did you call it? Is it a speakeasy? What do you call it? Is it a cigar shop? You call it what is it? It's a hangout. It's a hangout. It's a hang.
I would probably call it a cigar oasis.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing your cigar oasis with me, with my listeners. I really, truly appreciate your stories are great.
My pleasure. And by the way, make sure you follow me in about a month on YouTube. I'm going to have my own. If you found this entertaining or informative at all, check me out on Cigar Disruptor.
All right. Cigar Disruptor.
I will talk about Cuban and non-Cuban cigars. One of my first guests will be the director of Habanos from Havana, Cuba, who happens to be a personal friend of mine who I've known for over 20 years. His name is Jorge Perez. He cannot go to the U.S. because he's from Havana, Cuba, but he can stay in my house with me in Mexico, and I will ask him very hard questions about Cuban cigars. And I think Jorge will probably have all the answers.
He'll deliver for you, won't he?
And I plan to be having from Smoke Magazine, Cigar Aficionado, and all the manufacturers of new old cigars who are my friends, from Rocky Patel to Cynthia Fuente to A.G. Fernandez, on my show, smoking their cigar with them and critiquing them, because people that smoke cigars would probably want to hear from the guy whose actual name is on the cigar than a cigar rep who gets paid to sell their product.
Right on, right on. All right, Cigar Disruptor. Look for it on YouTube.
YouTube. That's it.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you again, Gerry.
My pleasure.
All right, thank you, Gerry. You're a really interesting guy. And this place is a unique spot in paradise. It's a real oasis in Puerto Vallarta. I have pictures and links and even a map that'll take you to the front door of the Casa Del Habano in the show notes. All right, well, that should do it for this week. Next week, stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips, great restaurant excursion ideas, and more. But until then, remember, this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and your suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something that I should be talking about, well, please reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending out a message. And remember, if you're considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you need to go to vallartainfo.com. That's JR's website. Reserve your tour through him right from his website. Remember, this is a value-for-value proposition. His experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through him as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you were going to use someone else, so do it, really. And when you do take one of these tours, hey, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on a Contact Us tab and sending us a message. Don't forget his maps, his DIY tours, and I have links to all of those in the show notes. Once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time and subscribe and follow and share with a lover of Puerto Vallarta, or give me a good review wherever or however you happen to be listening. That way we can get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time and subscribe and follow and share with a lover of Puerto Vallarta, or give me a good review wherever or however you happen to be listening. That way we can get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Remember, I made it easy for you to do just that with each episode I create. But if you haven't been to my website, you really need to have a look there. I have the links to the places that we talk about, interesting pictures and more, all there right in the blog post in the show notes for each episode of the show. So check them out for sure if you haven't already. All right? All right. Thank you to Vic Tavera from the Gecko Band for talking with us. Have a great tour of the Great White North, my friend. And thank you to Daniel Solis of the Monaco Band and Rocket Man fame. Remember, his band is in Vallarta for the summer. If you need a special occasion band, they are the band for you. And thanks so much to Gerry Cohen from La Casa del Habano, the cigar oasis at the heart of Centro Vallarta. Have a seat in a big leather chair with your favorite Cuban cigar, a cup of Gerry's gourmet coffee, or one of his exquisite bourbons. Stop by and see what goes on in Cuban Cigar Speakeasy. Get over there, really. That's what we call it anyway. Listen, I have pictures and links and maps. I'll take you right to the front door of the Casa del Habano in the show notes at my website. And thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler signing off with a wish for you all to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
Fascina en el viento este ritmo de palmas, sin naturaleza hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. al frente, me encuentro en el bello y en la paz. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino, perno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río, cuando todo está en calma, pronto cae la noche, me brillas Puerto Vallarta.